Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015, whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the U in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy,
where we give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to catch us every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Friday Fix. Don't forget to catch Wes and Steve over there at Civil Discourse. And don't forget to catch our new show with Wes, Mike P, Louisiana T. It's called Plays and Parlays. Woo! Moving and grooving, huh?
Moving and grooving, man.
As long as we have rights, we can still keep on moving and grooving.
As long as we got them. I think they're trying to flush them out right now, though.
Yeah, no, they're going to try to take them away, ladies and gentlemen. Trump administration floats suspending Habeas Corpus. What's that? Stephen Miller, a senior advisor to President Trump, was answering questions about illegal immigration. He told reporters May 9th that the Trump administration is actively looking to suspend a constitutional right that allows people to challenge in court their detention. Miller, the White House deputy chief of staff, said the Constitution says the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. Habeas corpus, Latin for you have the body, is used to determine if the government detention of someone in prison is legal, according to Cornell Law School Legal Information Institution. A writ of habeas corpus is used in a federal court under civil law to challenge a person's detention, commonly used by people in prison who are challenging the conviction that led to their prison sentence. Miller comments come amid several high-profile cases involving the Trump administration where habeas corpus has become a central issue. The cases have included people without lawful status in the country, as well as international students targeted for their pro-Palestinian advocacy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, basically what this is saying to everybody is that you won't be able to defend yourself in court. If they arrest you for something, it's basically you're just arrested for it. There's no trial. There's nothing that, basically you don't get due process.
Hey, this is what really, really concerns me, because most of you, what you're going to say is, oh, this will just be used for migrants. No, it'll be used for everybody. This is now across the board, so they can come into and arrest whoever. They've already said it basically to where they can come into your home without a warrant, warrantless, coming inside your home. Now they're basically talking about, hey, I can just arrest you. You have no right to defend yourself, and I can just keep you indefinitely. And so, I mean, I'm not sure where this was part of the Constitution or a part of America that you signed up for, but I sure as hell didn't sign up for this as being a part of America. And this is not something this is not America that I recognize. It's not America that I'm willing to deal with. I'm not even going to say live in, because I'm going to say, believe that, but I'm not going to deal with what's happening right here. I'm sure a lot of other Americans are going to feel the same exact way. I saw a group of 25 people. I think it was up on the Northeast, basically trying to stop ICE from taking away a mother away from her kids. They were trying to stop her. Like, they arrested a couple of the protesters. Most of these people were women. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that
neighbors.
And once us men need to start standing up and watching what's happening, the women are fighting back. They're willing to do it. We got to start standing up as well. We got to. Sometimes it may take getting arrested, because pretty soon I think they're going to start probably shooting people.
Well, remember, honestly, they arrested the governor or the mayor of New Jersey.
Yeah,
the other a couple days ago, because he was out there protesting the detention center. Him and a couple of I think a couple senators got arrested.
They already told us, watch what's coming, man. And this is one of the things they're talking about. He basically said, Stephen Miller said, depending on how the judges rule, is if we're going to be pushing forward with this.
Here, let me play the clip for everybody, so you guys can tell we're not just joking. I'm gonna play the clip.
Hold on, there's a question back there first.
I have two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to take care of the illegal immigration problem. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article III courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. it passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes, yes.
Mr. Miller.
So, yeah, he told you right there, basically, that it doesn't matter what anyone says. We're going to do what we want because we feel like we have the right to do what we want. And they don't. And
there's always these little laws that they sneak in there and they do this thing. I mean, you know, Wes, I think people aren't understanding what's really happening here. The United States is gone. We're just the United States in name. You need to understand what our world's about to be. Look, they're going to fire we're not even going to cover this story. We'll probably cover it later. They're firing top generals in brass. You know what I'm saying? They're downsizing the government. So only a few people can handle certain criteria and certain businesses and stuff. You need to understand the America you grew up in is going to be gone. There's no coming back from this. There's no, in 4 years, we're going to have a Democratic president and everything's going to turn around. No, the damage, it's not even going to be damage done. It's a restructuring phase that we're in right now. Kind of like when your sports team has to rebuild, but this way we're rebuilding in the face of white supremacy. Full-blown white supremacy. This is what a lot of people don't, you can admit it or not. This is exactly what you voted for. He preached it. He said this was going. And so they're taking the country, going to put it right back into a white nation. First, they got to get rid of all the brown people. If they can't get rid of them, they're going to jail them. They can't. And when they jail them, they're going to hit them with crimes and put them out in labor camps for hard labor. You know what I'm saying? That's how they're going to get stuff out.
They're already doing this.
They're already doing
black people. It's already a thing. It's already been done in this country already. So
now they're going to be able to arrest you without due process. They're going to be able to hold you in a cell. I mean, they already do that to us anyways. I've heard stories of people. They got black dudes in Rikers right now, been in there for 3 years and haven't seen a judge.
You know, I mean, so these things are not far fetched. We're showing you what they're saying.
They're not far, bro. They do it. They do it to black folks all the time. And see, that's one thing people need to understand here in America. You've never done right by the foundational black Americans that helped you win the Civil War and give you this great nation that you have now. And since you've never done right by them and you've let them be harassed, attacked, killed, jailed, abused, now it all comes double back because now everyone gets to feel that effect because you had your chance to stop it. I'm speaking of Democrats. You had your chance to stop it against us and you didn't. Now you have to deal with it against yourselves too.
It's just, I mean, more than, I'm just at a point right now to where we need to all kind of come together and think about what's happening right now and look at where we're heading. I know you feel like you're winning, but you're not winning. This is not a W. This is basically saying, so the next person who comes along that you may or may not believe in can do this and worse. What they're doing is they're taking bills on the book and they're interpreting them in a way that best suits what their agenda is. These aren't real bills that are saying these things, and this is just what it is. No, they're interpreting these bills this way. It's like anything you interpret as a law. Until you get a ruling, then you have to take it up to the Supreme Court to get an actual ruling that clarifies what this really means. And who do they have in the Supreme Court? They've known this for a while. This has been something that they've coordinated for quite a while. Now, I want you guys to look at what we're going to talk about next. And it's really going to tie in to exactly what's happening here. And
I want to
everything that we said about, about it being about getting these people out the country and getting us out the country and then turn this into a nation of Europeans, it'll all tie into this next segment.
And also, I want you guys to think about it like this. You can look at it and say, hey, this isn't going to affect me. I ain't got to worry about this. This is for the people I don't like, right? But what happens when they come to your town and they find oil under your city or there's rare minerals under your ground? You think the government will just come take that from you? Why not? A rich guy won't. Think about all them wildfires they set down south. Whole bunch of places never had wildfires. Now they got wildfires because they found all that lithium down there. You know what I'm saying? What if when they come to get your stuff and you try to fight them and they lock you up in jail, then you'll realize what you've done to yourself.
Absolutely. The Trump administration is chartering a plane to bring the first white South Africans to the U.S. as refugees. A group of white South Africans will be arriving in Washington, D.C. on Monday by way of a State Department chartered plane to be resettled in the U.S. as refugees, a source familiar with their arrival told NBC News. Their resettlement comes even though President Donald Trump suspended the State Department's refugee admissions program through an executive order on the first day of his second term. The group's scheduled arrival as the first white South Africans to enter the U.S. as refugees was first reported by New York Times on Friday. Trump signs an order on January 20th that said the U.S. lacks the ability to absorb large numbers of migrants, and in particular refugees, into its communities in a manner that does not compromise the availability of resources for Americans, that protect their safety and security, and that ensures the appropriate assimilation of refugees. But after a public dispute with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa a few weeks later over his signing of a land seizure law, Trump issued a second executive order, both eliminating aid for South Africa and granting an exception for Afrikaners, refugees escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination, including racial discriminatory property confiscation. Trump advisor Elon Musk, who was born and raised in South Africa, has described the country as having racist ownership laws, accusing his government of failing to stop what he refers to as a genocide against white farmers. The South African government expressed its concern to the Trump administration regarding the refugee status granted to its citizens in a Friday phone call between the South African Deputy Minister Alvin Botts and the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau. According to South African readout of the call, Botts disputed the Trump administration's position that the white South Africans are refugees, adding that the allegations of discrimination are unfounded.
Ain't nobody asked for these African booty scratchers to come all up here. That's crazy. No, hold on. I don't care. Whatever. So now you should understand what's really happening here, right? The Browns got to go. All the brown people got to go. But we're going to bring in these refugees, just these ones, the whites from South Africa.
We're being allegedly discriminated against about land that they stole originally, land where they spilled millions of probably, the bloods of millions of South Africans on. They took all their land, took their natural resources. You look at De Beers, go look at all the gold Kimberley, all their different vaults up in the UK where they stolen all the diamonds and sent them away up to the UK. Let's just be honest here, man. This dude, they're telling you exactly what this is.
They're like, you remember when it was how it used to be in South Africa? Well, come on to America because we're getting it there again. No, it's crazy. You're gonna run. Look, I wonder what happens when you run into like a real like African American and like you say try to talk to them like they're South African, like black South African, and you get them hands put on you, being confused. But they're probably gonna live in Elon Musk's city.
You look at what Elon Musk has already done too, as well. He's consistently been race baiting on X for a very long time. He's been consistently talking negatively about blacks in this country are racist, putting up violence charts and things of that nature about blacks. Let's not get it twisted. We know who Elon Musk is. His grandparents were born in Canada, then moved down to South Africa, brought him and his mother down to South Africa because they were very much involved in the whole Nazi movement and the apartheid movement. They were very keen on that whole movement. This is not like his father said this. Elon Musk's actual father said this about it. So we know where he comes from. Peter Thiel, who was one of Elon Musk's partners at PayPal, was family was from Germany, moved down to a very, very racist part of South Africa where white South Africans kind of ruled, and they ruled with an iron fist against blacks. So this and this is a whole. There's so many different moving parts to this, man, that if we don't pay attention, you want to bring in white settlers, but you are so angry about refugees coming into this country at all. You don't want to give asylum to people who are actually fleeing their countries. You can't wait to get Venezuelans out of here. You're talking negative about them, but you have nothing to say about these white farmers. That's why you want to take over Canada. This is why you want Greenland, because you see that they have a large populations of white people. So you want them here so you can stave off what's coming, which is the switching of the population. Population is switching to people who you call a minority, who are really the majority in this country. That's what it's switching from. This is the problem that we're having here. So,
Canadians and people in Greenland, They don't want to become a part of America. You know what that means? Americans can go there freely. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Americans just go up to Canada and just cause a muck. That's all we would do. There's no more border. We just do. Oh my God, Canada would get robbed. Canada's a nice place.
They don't have gun laws would change.
Canada's
they would no longer have they would no longer have free health care. A lot would change for Canadians. You know,
they would be going backwards. Like
pretty much.
They would go backwards. They get all the drug addicts to go up there because they know the people don't know their scams. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm driving up there because I've seen some women in Canada on the dating sites. And I'm just saying, if you like to get your news. Anyways, like I'm saying, nah, man.
We definitely have to take this for what it is. Yeah. They're telling you who they are, so believe them.
It's insulting. It's not insulting. It's right there in your face. So, I mean, anyone that wants to argue with you is just racist and they don't want to admit it because they still have to live around everybody else. But if you're going to kick out all the brown people, but you're bringing in white refugees,
can't wait to get them, sending them to prisons. You're not just kicking them out. You're deporting them to prisons where they may not be ever seen again. We got to be honest about what's happening here. Sending them to countries they're not even from. You have no regard for these people. You're shackling them up, even the ones who are here on legal status. They're legally here. You're shackling them up, treating them like criminals, but you'll fly these people in on charter planes. I guarantee you they didn't have shackles on. I guarantee you they didn't. This is the problem, man. We got to start talking about this and not play about it. It's a serious situation. We got a racist white man in the White House. It is what it is. He's racist. If he was a racist black man, I'd say the same thing about him too. But the fact of the matter is, this is who he is. He's trying to destroy this country. And whether you care or not, it doesn't matter how you feel. What's happening is happening. Population is changing. It is what it is. Get on board or get out this country.
Yeah, well, he's not really trying to destroy it. He's just changing it.
Definitely destroying this country. He's trying to destroy this country.
He's destroying what we all knew as America.
Intentionally. I mean, when you crater apart America.
Yeah. He's getting rid of. It's still gonna be America, right? United States of America. But the way we knew it, with constitutional rights, due process,
that is destroying America.
Yeah, on top of that, they're changing it. My homeboy said this a long time ago. He's like, when and it's not racist. He's like, when black folks beat white people at their own games, they change the rules and they change the system to benefit themselves. That's just what it is, brother. They're changing it. It's where we live. People voted for white supremacy. So we're going to be it's going to be all the way. And there's no way going back. It's going to be thick through the military, through the government jobs.
So what I'm going to say is this right here. On top of that, I get what you're saying. There's not that but they're destroying America because you think that every state is going to put up with that. No, what they're going to do is succeed. That is destroying America. That is setting the seeds for secession and destruction of this country. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Yeah, of course he is changing it, but you're setting up this country for some type of a civil, you know what I mean? Like a civil type war or something on that nature. That's what you're doing right now. You're sowing the seeds of discontent and revolution in this country. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's what it is. Well, let's give the guy one win, because it'll be a win for him and everybody else. Trump announces National Center for Homeless Vets, paid for the funds previously used to house illegals. America Last is out. America First is in. Friday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to establish the Center for Homeless Veterans titled Keeping Promises to Veterans and establishing a National Center for Warrior Independence. This order will create the National Center for Warrior Independence in Los Angeles, California, on the Veterans Affairs campus. This funding will come from money previously used on illegal immigrants. If that's not a total reversal, what is? According to LA VA website, the center was established in 1887 through a grant from former Republican Senator John Percival Jones and John Wolfskin. Trump writes that once Great Place declined over time, not accommodating veterans and allowing other entities to use the property for other means. The Department of Veterans Affairs leased parts of the property to a private school, private companies, and the baseball team of the University of California, Los Angeles. Sometimes it's significantly below market prices, the order reads. Communicating the problem of homelessness for veterans, Trump said, as of 2024, there were approximately 3,000 homeless veterans in Los Angeles, more than any other city in the country and accounting for about 10% of all American homeless veterans. Many of these heroes live in squalor in Los Angeles' infamous Skid Row. And so for this, I mean, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I always said at one time, the first thing you need to get off the streets is the veterans. Our vets should always, thank you for your service. They should always be taken care of.
No, I'm not going to say I disagree with that. I'm definitely feel like, we need to do right by the people who went out to serve this country. We need to make sure we honor what we told them we would do for them and not leave them to, kind of just be sitting there like, trying to figure it out for themselves. I really feel like they need to have better programs when they do go to the military so they can go out and actually get better jobs. We talk about trade schools. They need to have more trade schools in the military, teaching these people actual, because it's very hard to transition for a lot of people from military service to actual civilian work. I noticed that a lot. We live in a military town, so we notice a lot of military people who just do not transition well. Do I think that all veterans, if you were dishonorably discharged, depending on what it was for, I do feel like we do owe you something because you did sign up to serve this country. But at the same time, we need to make sure we pay attention to what do we do for them? Not all of them are going to be 20 years in the military. Not all of them are going to do a bunch of time in the military. So give them some kind of a trade to kind of help them along the way. If they're not, then this is definitely a good program to have something like this where you're actually putting money back into housing veterans and getting them back on their feet. But at the same time, get them some kind of a trade. You know what I mean? That goes for people who are in prisons as well, too. Do something for your people in this country, man. It sounds like he's trying to do something here, and I'm all for it. I don't have to speak negatively about everything a person. I don't have to like what who the person is or what's going on. If they do something right, you got to give them. You got to give them props for it because if he's using the money, you're giving it. And I said that too before. That was like one of my quarrels with Democrats. I was like, I've said it too. I said you're stepping over homeless people and you're stepping over veterans to give this stuff to these illegal people that aren't supposed to be here anyways. You know what I'm saying? So for him doing right, at least by the veterans on this part, I'm going to give him his W for that. I think that at the same time, too, we do need to pay attention to what money he is taking from migrants, because I don't think he should take all money from migrants. I think that, from people from immigrants who come to this country, I think we're doing a very negative thing to American growth, American prosperity by these new laws and this new regime that we have in office. They're destroying our base of workers. Imagine how many we're going to lose over the next 4 years. And then with the onerous laws that he's put in place and the way that he's trying to, put his knee on the necks of, choke points that are places where migrants come up through the border. We got to pay attention to that because it's going to hurt us long term. We have a projected growth rate in this country, and it's not based off of Americans. Trust me, we do not make enough babies in this country to feed, to make sure that our, Social Security is being paid to next generations, because that's how you pay it. It's not always the fact of, what I paid into it. No, it's the fact of the people who come along after you and how many hours they work. They're paying for your Social Security. So pay attention to that. We don't have enough of these people in our country right now. We need more. Yeah. And with that, Trump ladies and gentlemen, do you want to do this last one? One more. Yeah. Trump floats 100% tariff on Barbies while his UK trade deal shields super luxury cars like Rolls-Royce. Even as President Donald Trump pushes a message of self-sacrifice when it comes to how many dolls American children should own, his administration's first trade deal includes a carve-out for cars, luxury ones. Trump on Thursday hailed the fact that the U.S.-UK framework for a trade talks calls for lowering the tariffs on UK cars, saying it wasn't his intention to persuade super luxury brands, including Rolls-Royce, Bentley, and Jaguar, to build cars in the United States. According to a fact sheet shared by the Washington White House, the Trump administration has already agreed to lower tariffs on the first 100,000 UK vehicles imported into the United States each year to 10%. Additional vehicles face a 25% tariff. We took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that. It's a very special car, and it's very limited number too, Trump said, announcing their agreement with Britain in the Oval Office. During the same event, Trump floated slapping 100% tariff on toys made by Mattel and attacked the company's CEO after the Barbie and Hot Wheels maker said its toys couldn't be manufactured in America and still be sold at affordable prices. The United Kingdom exported only about 90,000 cars to the United States last year, according to S&P Global Mobility, making it the sixth largest source of imported vehicles, responsible for only 1% of imported cars. U.S. Commerce Department data showed that the value of the cars imported from the UK came to $12.3 billion, meaning that the average price of a Britain import was more than $135,000. It's not one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are very super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar, some very special cars, Trump said. That's really handmade stuff, and they've been doing it for a long time in the same location. He added, noting that he wanted to help the makers of such cars.
I mean, all y'all gonna have to suffer, right? But I'm gonna need these cars to come in.
I'm gonna need my Rolls Royces.
I'm gonna need my Rolls Royces. I'm gonna need my Lamborghinis to come in here. You know, I see all the stuff that they're doing, and I'm just like, when is it? I wonder how long will it take? I'm gonna tell you, by the summer, you're gonna realize you're fucked. But like I've been telling you, as soon as it starts, you can be like, damn, this is gonna be all bad. You ain't gonna have nothing to throw up in the sky and blow up and be excited about. But how long till he has his let them eat cake moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that wait until a lot of these shelves and these aisles start getting empty. That's going to be his let him eat cake moment. People are going to start walking in stores like, where's this at? Everyone right now can say, go to the thrift store, do this. And they can give you all these great stories to go do about how you should be shopping when you live in America. And you should be able to buy what you want to buy and not have a president pretty much saying what you should and what you should not buy based off the fact that he's putting tariffs on things. Wait till they have to walk into a lot of these aisles. They figure out what all comes from China. A lot of stuff that we use come from China. And so at the end of the day, that'll be his let him eat cake moment when people start seeing this and he starts getting pushback. Because everything he's telling you right now, suspend habeas corpus. I'm not putting I'm gonna put no tariffs on Rolls Royce and Bentley. I'm gonna bring in some South African immigrants.
Yeah. And think about it. And then also it's like, you know, he has till the 27th of May to make that trade deal with China before you know, that's when they say the 27th that's the last chance for him to do anything. I mean, the stuff's not coming in now.
It's hurting. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
Hey, I'm looking at the car. I was showing Wes earlier. You know, this guy, he made a video talking about he's looking up these car parts, and because of the tariffs, it was a door switch, you know, so like when you roll up your window and you lock your door, and a 2011, what was it? It was a 2011 Avion or something like that. The door switch alone was about $500 everywhere we looked. You know what I'm saying? About like $200 to $500, you know, for a door switch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's usually like $40. So I'm just saying that stuff's hitting them. They're going to have that moment because I'm watching the Met Gala or the picture of the Met Gala because I don't watch that rich shit. But I'm watching, I'm just like, is this really good to be showing people in this kind of time when people are like struggling and there's a lot of, you know, fear going on and uncertainty? You're watching all these rich people dress up in a whole bunch of outfits they're never going to wear again that are mighty expensive. So I'm just wondering when that let them eat cake, when that moment's going to come, because it's going to come.
And with that,
this is Uncommon Courtesy, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you next time.